Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Saturday, July 6th. This is Gina Palma. Over the next couple of days, we will have another cold front approaching the region, bringing an increase in winds, especially across Nevada and Utah as we go into Sunday into early next week. These winds may increase fire potential, especially over western Utah, into eastern Nevada where fuels are most critical, and also where winds will be the strongest. We will also continue to see breezy winds and dry conditions further west into Nevada. Winds will decrease Monday, but still be breezy across Nevada and Utah, and in some areas where there's critical fuels, this may increase fire potential if we see new starts. Also, we'll start to see an increase in showers and thunderstorms across Idaho as we go later in the weekend into early next week. Over the last 24 hours, we've only had a few isolated thunderstorms over central Idaho, parts of northeast Utah, and northeast Nevada, with a couple cells that developed along the Sierra front. We also have some early morning convection over far southern Idaho. These thunderstorms only produced a few hundredths of an inch of precipitation. We generally had light to moderate initial attack, generally small fires across the Great Basin over the last couple of days. Over the last 7 days, we've seen precipitation associated with thunderstorms, mainly over the eastern half of the Great Basin, but even this precipitation is well below normal for the time of year. Looking at our current ERCs have been increasing across the Great Basin and are now above the 50th or 70th percentile in parts of southern Idaho, Nevada, and Utah. We still do have some areas that are below normal and below the 50th percentile, mainly in the higher terrain of the Great Basin. Here are some ERC charts, again showing the rise rapidly in ERCs over the last couple of weeks as drier conditions have prevailed. This brings our ERCs generally to near normal for the time of year. Live fuel moisture also has been on the decrease over the last couple of weeks and are trending toward seasonal normals over parts of western Nevada and into southwest Idaho, and are still a little above normal over the rest of the Great Basin for sagebrush. However, our cheatgrass is drying over the southern half of the Great Basin or cured and is in the process of drying further north. And again, we do have an abundant load of fine fuels this year across many areas of the Great Basin, which has been contributing to any fire spread we've seen early this season. But very soon the sagebrush will dry out to critical levels, and this will help contribute to active fire behavior. The satellite loop from this morning shows the area of low pressure over the Pacific Northwest, which will continue dropping south, pushing a cold front again through the Great Basin, increasing our winds. In the meantime, just some residual moisture you can see from the cloud field over parts of far northeast Nevada into northern Utah and southern Idaho and Wyoming this morning, and this is where the focus of any isolated thunderstorms will be today. Otherwise, dry conditions with typical afternoon breezes are expected. Looking at the weather pattern for later today, again you can see where that moisture is still lingering over parts of eastern Idaho into northern Utah and northeast Nevada. We do have generally low fire potential or moderate fire potential across the Great Basin. You can see where some of the drier areas are over western Nevada and to southern areas. Today, relative humidity will be in the single digits to low teens in most locations, and wind gusts will increase a little bit from what we saw yesterday, with gusts between about 25 and 30 miles per hour in some of the breezier areas of the Sierra front and southern Idaho. By Sunday, this trough of low pressure starts to dip down into Washington, and this will allow winds to increase across the Great Basin along with the drier conditions over Nevada and Utah. We do have some high risks for the winds over western Utah into eastern Nevada, which is again where winds will be the strongest and also where relative humidity will be low and fuels are critical. However, winds will be breezy across the Great Basin, as you can see from the image on the right. We will have wind gusts anywhere from 25 to 35 miles per hour across Nevada and up to about 45 miles per hour over eastern Nevada and western Utah, with again low relative humidity. On Monday, we will see moisture increase as that front drops south across Idaho into northeast Nevada and northern Utah and Wyoming. That's the best chance for showers and thunderstorms, although we could continue to see a few isolated storms pop up along the Sierra front over the next couple of days with that moisture in place. Otherwise, breezy winds will weaken a little bit but also shift further east. We do not have any high risk right now for Monday for winds. We will continue to watch areas of Utah, but right now wind speeds look to be a little bit lower. Looking at the conditions on Monday, you can see how the relative humidity increases as that front drops south. We will see cooler temperatures along with those showers and thunderstorms in the north, but even along the Sierra front we will see an increase in relative humidity. Winds will remain breezy on Monday with strongest winds across Utah. Forecast amounts of precipitation will generally be spotty and associated with thunderstorm activity. As we move into the rest of early to mid portion of next week, we will have that trough moving east on Tuesday, so winds will start to decrease and drier conditions will prevail across the Great Basin with no high risk issued. On Wednesday, we will start to see the high pressure area over the desert southwest and Four Corners area really start to strengthen, so we will see our temperatures increasing as we go through the middle of the week. As we move towards Thursday and Friday, with this area of high pressure in place, we now have southerly flow bringing moisture up into the Great Basin. We might start to see showers and thunderstorms move into parts of Utah and the Arizona Strip, maybe even far southern or eastern Nevada as we move towards Thursday, and more likely on Friday. We'll continue to watch this right now and see how much moisture is pushed north. These thunderstorms may start out on the drier side, but they also might transition to wet fairly quickly, depending on how quick that moisture moves up from the south. Otherwise, it still looks like western areas of the Great Basin will remain on the drier side, and you can see how those dryness levels respond with, again, areas of low to moderate fire potential, mainly across Nevada and Utah. Right now, any thunderstorm activity is expected to be scattered or isolated, and again, precipitation will be tied to those showers and thunderstorms, and right now, later next week is still fairly uncertain with the amount of moisture. Looking at the 8 to 14 day outlook, taking us into the third week in July, still looking at warm temperatures. We may still see below normal precipitation, but it really depends on the amount of moisture that gets pushed north. It may start pushing our trend closer to normal for the time of year as that monsoon starts to develop late in the second week and into the third week in July. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back tomorrow for the latest updates.